Welcome to Encounter, where we celebrate putting faith into action and community leaders who live out compassion, grace, and love. We're a program of the Broome County Council of Churches that addresses food insecurity through CHOW and the Greater Good Grocery, provides hospital and jail ministry, builds wheelchair ramps, and assists neighbors with transportation and shopping services through Faith in Action volunteers. We invite you to the conversation. Encounter your neighbors as we learn to walk together in love and kindness.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. I'm your host today, Joe Sellepack, the Executive Director at the Broome County Council of Churches. So every now and then I want to make you all aware of what's going on at the Council of Churches, what are some of the ways that we're growing, what are some of the things that we've been working toward. One of the major changes that takes place through the course of our existence has been when one program director retires. In this case, it was Sue Spencer retiring, and Jaclyn Bombard, who is with us, Jaclyn Bombard, who is with us today to talk a little bit about Faith in Action volunteers. She's our new program director for Faith in Action. Welcome to Encounter, Jaclyn.
Thank you so much for having me.
And also we have Kyle Lake. Kyle is a new employee, well, newish employee. You've been working for the council for now almost 2 years, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he spent about a year working in the warehouse and getting to know Chow, and has been helping us right now integrate the Medicaid waiver, and we're going to talk a little bit about that at one point in time. But we're really a health worker who works out inside of helps us with the social determinants of health for all people. So thanks for being on Encounter, Kyle.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
So Jaclyn, what brings you to being a program director for the Broome County Council of Churches? I always like to ask people, how did you get called?
I'd say it's a calling from the Lord. It's that time in my career. I've been doing development for 25 years. So I've been a fundraiser, special events planner, volunteer coordinator for 25 years. And through speaking to you about an open position, it piqued my interest. And I've always had an affinity for older adults through just personally and in various volunteer capacities. And so I just always knew kind of in the back of my mind that I'd be working for the senior population at some point. So this is kind of a culmination of everything, a good contact in you, Dr. Joe, and it was just a great time for a career change, and kind of encompassing everything that my career has led up to at this point and my passions.
Yeah, you have a great staff too there at Faith in Action Volunteers, and a lot of them are, they've come. You don't know this, but they do talk to me.
Okay.
So, and I need you to know that they all think very highly of you, and they feel as if the work that you're going to be doing together is something that they're looking forward to, and they really want to be a part of. So,
it's humbling.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. So, Kyle, what led you to the council?
I've always wanted to be in the helping field, and through working at another helping job, I was able to get the opportunity through a mutual friend of ours, Steve, said, hey, there's an opportunity here. Would you like to jump in? And I said, sure. And I definitely don't regret doing that. It's been rewarding in many ways, for sure.
And what is it that, we use that term, social determinants of health, and we use health worker and the 1115 waiver or Medicaid waiver, however you want to look at it. What does that boil down to? What does that mean?
It's just kind of helping people, giving them a hand up, and either a lot of people are lacking in transportation. Housing is a huge issue in this area, as well as nutrition. So we kind of try to even the playing field for people and give them a little hand, a helping hand, not a handout, but like a helping hand as well.
And so really, I mean, what it boils down to is the fact that if So supposing you have somebody who's on Medicaid and they meet all the criteria, so they're on Medicaid, they go to a doctor's office and the doctor will ask, it's the weird questions that they've started asking, right? So do you have adequate food in your house? Do you feel like you have adequate housing? And if a person were to say no to any of those things, that's when this kicks in, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So
yep, they have to get assessed, and then they have to be eligible. Eligibility is basically having Medicaid. But yep, and then they could work with a caseworker and get those needs met.
And really, I mean, your position is kind of working between programs. So you could see how CHOW kind of is one, because if a person came to you or came to a doctor and said, I don't have adequate food, well, then they connect you to CHOW, and you would be the person who would interact with them, right?
Correct.
And then they could get a food box or get some food for them, for a pantry box or something like that, or even the new manna meals kind of fall under that too, right?
Yep, those are for people that have higher needs. We have the medically tailored meals and then the clinically appropriate meals. Those are for people that have a really hard time cooking for themselves and doing things like that. So what we do is provide 3 meals a day, 7 days a week for those folks, and they don't have to worry about their nutrition, and they can focus on other parts of their life.
Okay, and Jaclyn, when is there a way that that you work with people that are under that kind of a rubric?
Absolutely. So our programs and services are free to older adults age 60 and up within our community, and so I like to think of us as kind of bridging that gap as well in need, whether it's transportation to and from doctor's appointments, the grocery store, pharmacy, bank, or post office, but also making reassurance calls to seniors who are currently our clients or on our waiting list waiting for services. And as part of that, I feel like those reassurance calls help us to bridge the gap in services and connect them with resources, including some in Kyle's program, as well as other peer agencies that we work with. We can pass along those resources in the meantime while they're waiting to become clients of Faith in Action.
So Faith in Action is celebrating an anniversary this year, right?
Yes, we are. It's our 30th year, so that's very exciting. It's keep saying that it's a celebratory year for the Council of Churches with all of our wonderful anniversaries, and I don't know if those have been put out there yet, but yeah, definitely it's our 30th anniversary. It's the 10th for our Chop and Chat program, and exciting this spring, it's going to be our 250th build for our Ramp It Up program.
250 ramps. It's hard to believe that we've gotten that far into this, right? And Chop and Chat even, I mean, 10 years.
Absolutely.
So what is Chop and Chat?
So Chop and Chat is one of my favorite projects right now. Unfortunately, our coordinator has been out, and so we've stepped up. The staff has stepped up and stepped into that role. So I have an intimate knowledge of Chop and Chat. And so we serve 9 community centers, senior centers, as well as senior living facilities in the area. And what the gist of it is that we bring in ingredients and a recipe that yields 2 to 3 servings, and we try to make the recipes nutritious and delicious. And we bring the ingredients. They gather, on average, it's about 20 people. I've sat in on Chop and Chat. I had upward of 30 plus people. And it's exactly what it sounds like. They're chopping and they're chatting. And so it's both for wellness and health, but it's also for mental health and socialization. And that program is generously sponsored through a grant through the United Way, which is a great thing. And what else is exciting is that you see these interactions at these senior centers. So it might be a one-off person that gets called in over to a group. So you see these friendships being made. You hear them chatting about what they're doing afterwards together. And we hear firsthand that they're sharing rides for those who can ride and just sharing resources among themselves as seniors. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see. And side note, I go to some of these senior centers and there's groups having lunch. I've been to one where I see someone bringing in an electric guitar, a keyboard, and a jam session starts right in front of me. So I have a lot to look forward to in the coming years, apparently. These senior centers are really hopping and bopping.
They are. And there have been times when we've had seniors walk in and say, well, you know, I want the food, but I don't want the chatting. And we'll say to them, they come together. You know, if you and it's hard for us to really grasp the isolation at times that's a part of being in one of those high-rise buildings when you're a senior and you don't have positive interactions with other people. But this gives the opportunity for those positive interactions to kind of take place, right?
Absolutely, and we see it firsthand, like I mentioned.
And Kyle, you were you've helped out with Chop and Chat before,
I've been a guest Chop and Chatter, that's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember when we were even sitting down, you and I were introduced to it, and we were all sitting there making our recipe inside of a boardroom, right?
Yep. That's
trying to put together something. It was kind of fun.
It is fun, yeah. And I've helped out when there was absence of somebody that was supposed to be doing it. So I jumped in, and it warms your heart. It really does. They have like their specific spots. They have their own spot that they need to sit in, and it's very routine. But yeah, they get in their routine and they love it. It's awesome.
So the two of you, Jaclyn and Kyle, you guys went to my Rotary Club because I was out earlier this week. I was actually in New York. We were city for a conference that I had to attend, and you all graciously volunteered to be at the Rotary Club in my absence. So when you were talking about the Rotary Club, what did you say?
We talked a lot about, at least from my perspective, Faith in Action. I talked about all of our programs and services. But what I focused on is the fact that of our 90 volunteers, the average age is 71. And so in essence, because we serve residents of Broome County age 60 and up, it's peers serving peers. And although that's wonderful, I would be not telling the truth if I didn't say it worries me a little bit. I want a younger generation in there, not for any other reason besides just having intergenerational relationships and volunteer opportunities, but also to give some of the 70 plus years of age people a break now and then. They tend to be snowbirds. Right now we actually have on our board, there's 10 people that are great volunteers, but they're away. So it's a unique dynamic of these wonderful volunteers who are really rock stars, but they live a different lifestyle than someone who might have more time in town. So and I know Kyle and I have had this conversation about really pitching this year about the need for volunteers, not only with Faith in Action, but in other areas within the council as well.
And really, I mean, when you look at how at all the programs of the council, we are very highly volunteer driven. So I think the most recent count had us at about 1,000 volunteers, which is incredible for people to really grasp their head around. So what are ways that people can plug in and be volunteers at the Council of Churches?
Do you want me to go first? Certainly give us a call, because in Faith in Action there is the RIDE program where you can drive people to and from appointments or to the grocery store. We also have our shopper program, which is funded through the Office for Aging, and that's a shop from a list type program where you as a volunteer would go into someone's home, create a shopping list, do the shopping, and bring the groceries back. We have our Ramp It Up program, and I know that our coordinator is looking for teams. There's a lot of youth teams out there, but he's also looking for adults or even corporate team building kind of opportunities to build ramps this year. And then Chop and Chat. We've gotten a lot of interest in that program lately. I put it out there to our volunteers, and some volunteers who are giving rides are now helping with some prep for Chop and Chat. There's always opportunities. Another very rewarding one are the reassurance calls, like I had mentioned, just picking up the phone and calling people, checking in on a weekly basis. So there's lots of opportunity from my perspective. Also, we have a couple special events every year that we would certainly welcome volunteers to help participate in.
And Kyle, we're also looking for volunteers too for the warehouse, correct?
The warehouse, yep. You can go package some goods and make up some boxes for our folks at the pantries. We also have volunteer opportunities through Manna and those can all be found on the website as well.
So www.broomecouncil.net.
Yeah, that's correct.
And there's a application form that a person can fill out on the website that will lead them to, like they could say what their interests are, and they would be able to get connected to the program director. So Jaclyn, Jaclyn could get connected to you, or if you want to be involved with MANA, Scott would reach back out to them. Or we have like a lot of different ways that people can help, and people can be involved in the volunteer programs.
Yeah, if you're interested in like cooking and learning maybe a little bit more and giving back at the same time, the MANA program may be perfect for you. Or if you're looking to get some physical activity with packing some boxes out in the warehouse, that's a great opportunity as well. So.
And I should also say, from Faith in Action's perspective, we currently have a waiting list for services for our rides, and the only barrier to getting those on the waiting list to being active clients is our number of current volunteers. So that's kind of my plea to the community when we're reaching out for volunteers. Not only is it a rewarding volunteer opportunity, but we can roll those people off the waiting list.
And really, I mean, it can be anything from, like you suggested, driving somebody to a medical appointment, or it could be even something as simple as going to the grocery store and shopping from a list.
Absolutely. And what I try to pitch as well is the fact that when someone gives a ride to the grocery store, the senior is with you. They're independent doing their grocery shopping. So I like to frame it in the sense that you can be doing your grocery shopping at the same time, or you don't even need to be there. So it's a volunteer opportunity that's literally the ride and the companionship. That can't go unnoticed. But you can be checking off your to-do list as well when you're volunteering for us.
Yeah, and so we all have to go to the grocery store on occasions, right? So it gives a person the chance to kind of help somebody else out, and as well as helping yourself out at the same time. So coming up with Faith in Action is our Lives of Commitment breakfast, which is something that where we honor these volunteers. So you want to talk a little bit about that too?
I'll talk a little bit about it from my perspective, but you're definitely more the pro. I've never been to the event itself, but I'm definitely neck deep in committee work and planning right now. The Lives of Commitment breakfast, will be held on May 7th. It's a Thursday, starting bright and early at 7:15 a.m. And the reason we do this is to be respectful of people's time, so people can come to this wonderful, impactful event at 7:15 and then be out the door by 9. It's really our goal to get people out so they can not be too late to work. And this year, if you don't mind me just mentioning our honorees, our Faith in Action honoree is Joe Burnett, our Broome County Council of Churches honoree is Bob Neer, and our community honorees are It's Raining Lemonade, a wonderful nonprofit of Janet Kent, Heather Staley, and Lynn Terry. And our keynote speaker is Naima Krajan, who's just a wonderful member of the community and works in the theater industry. She will be speaking about the importance of volunteerism and what that means to our community. And from what I've heard, and I'm so excited to experience, that people leave just in tears oftentimes hearing these stories, but just how impactful and selfless our community is, and what they do is just really astounding.
One of my favorite stories from one of the volunteers who was honored. So this woman retired early from IBM. So she was 55 years old when she retired, and she was, trying to think of what she would do with the rest of her life. And so she said, well, I had some projects around the house that I had to get done. Then there was some traveling that I wanted to do, but then I was sitting there looking at my dog after all of this stuff was done, and we're sitting there looking at each other going, is this it? What do I need to do? And so then she heard on the radio one of the volunteer opportunities that came up from Faith in Action volunteers. And so she said, okay, well, I'll try that. And so she called the number, and she got connected to somebody. And then she said, then I got connected to this person who I drove for. I took her to her medical appointments, and I took her took her grocery shopping, and she said that this real relationship kind of emerged from that. And she said, well, you know, here you are honoring me at this Lives of Commitment breakfast. I want you to know that faith in action saved my life. And she said, it gave me something to do with all of this free time that I now have. And there are a lot of people out there, I think, who are similar to her, that you have, you know, you have lack of purpose, a lack of direction. You're just sitting there with all this time, and you're trying to think of, well, what does this mean? What is this going to mean for me in my future? And faith in action can help them give direction and purpose, and give them a sense that they're not only helping somebody else, but they're helping themselves too in the process, right?
What a wonderful message, and I think oftentimes my messaging comes out as the client, but yeah, it's so rewarding for our volunteers as well. And I can constantly say that our programs empower seniors to remain independent and vibrant and engaged in the community, but from the other side of the coin, it does the same thing, I think, for our volunteers. So what a great message, Dr. Joe. That's wonderful.
And Kyle, when you're interacting with the people that that are on the Medicaid waiver, do some of those folks, I know that there are new work requirements and other kinds of things that are coming as a result of like SNAP and other things. Do some of those folks need to do volunteer time, or do you?
I'm not aware of that at this time, but that's definitely something we can certainly look into for sure.
Because it would seem to me as if, especially if you're thinking about social determinants of health, that actually getting plugged in and connected to things are definitely a part of that, I would imagine.
I would imagine so too. And when people get isolated and they keep to themselves, it kind of gets really dark and glim. So the more opportunity you can have to be around people, especially positive people, it can only be a positive impact in your life.
Now, when you were working in the warehouse, did you get to work with volunteers?
I did, yeah.
And how was that?
Awesome. I was just talking to Jaclyn earlier. For as bad as rap as some of the college kids get around this area, we have amazing college kids that are really willing to give their time and their energy to greater things than themselves, like volunteering in the warehouse or things of that nature. I've been really pleasantly surprised by that, I guess.
Yeah. And so so to honor some of these volunteers, we put together the Lives of Commitment breakfast. And what's the date again for that?
That's May 7th.
May 7th.
It's a Thursday at 7:15 a.m.
At 7:15. And if a person wants to attend, how would they do that?
I would ask them to contact our office. We'll be pushing out more information via social media, and there'll be some press around it as well. But in the short term, calling our office or visiting our website is the best course of action.
So on our website, it's www.broomecouncil.net, and they could go on there and just write an email
Absolutely.
to the council, and that's one way that they can connect with it. Another way is to call us on the phone, and that number is 607-724-9130, and just put in the extension number.
Absolutely.
What is your extension
I'm
number?
extension 304.
304, and you can get connected to Jaclyn that way and be able to either volunteer or if you're looking to attend the Lives of Commitment breakfast, that they can help you get connected to that as well. So as far as like the council is concerned, and how important and volunteerism are, emerging volunteers and all the rest of that kind of thing. How do you think a volunteer fits in? Like, when you were in the warehouse thinking that through that story that you shared about some of the volunteers that you worked with, volunteers are treated like staff, right? I mean, it's part of what they do. Is
Absolutely.
that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And So really, I mean, you're adding value to the council. You're adding value to Chow. You're giving your time, giving your energy, and helping people in the process of doing that well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to say that we wouldn't have been able to get through some days, because it just would have been a lot longer, but it made the day go a lot smoother and a lot more pleasant with their help.
And you also use volunteers for the administration of the program too, right?
Yes,
Jaclyn?
we have volunteers in office every day except for Friday, and they're there all day. They do our intake calls, they do our reassurance calls, and some of them do reassurance calls remotely, and everybody has access to our ride scheduler system, which is a really wonderful program where people can accept rides right through that, so all of our volunteers tap into that online. But with our 90 volunteers for our rides, as well as our 18 volunteers for our shopper program. Our Faith in Action is volunteer run. I mean, paid staff, we have 4, and that includes for the Ramp It Up, Chop It Chat, and our office. So our volunteers are the heart and soul of our program, and we could not have our program without them.
And when I know you're pretty new into the role and all that, but when you're thinking about like the future and what you're thinking about as far as the future of Faith in Action, what are some things that you're excited about?
Well, my colleague Chris and she and I, it's funny, we get together and you can almost feel the wheels spinning in the room. It's such a strong foundation of a program, but we've met with a volunteer recently to talk about social days for seniors, bringing them into the Council of Churches in our conference room, and I think we're going to be partnering with the Girl Scouts to have a taste test of their cookies, and we're going to transport seniors. Yeah, you'll get an invite. Don't you worry about that.
I want one. I got to get that invite.
Oh, you will. And so we see the importance of having these more social kind of things, getting people out of the house to do fun things. Obviously, necessities come first. Going to a doctor's appointment, getting your groceries, all of those things come first. But we're also talking about maybe having one frivolous trip every 6 months. If you need to go grocery shopping, if you need to do something above grocery shopping, you need to shop for Christmas gifts, something like that. All of those things really help with someone's wellness, and those are necessities in their own ways. They don't come to the top of our list because we want to check those boxes of getting food, getting health care, all of those things. So we're thinking a lot on the social side. For me, the intergenerational kind of programming, the Girl Scout thing is a good example of that. I just love the concept of intergenerational kind of programming. So we're working with both SUNY Broome and Binghamton University as well to get some interns in, which I think will bring some youth to our department, which is exciting.
My guests today have been Kyle Lake, who is our outreach healthcare worker, who's been trying to connect folks to the Medicaid waiver, and Jaclyn Bombard, who is our new Faith in Action director. Thank you for being on Encounter
Thank you
today.
so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
And for all of you, I pray that you would have a great Sunday and learn to be kind and gentle to each other. Have a great day.